It's good.
That's kind of cool. They're saying this well. Did it start? Oh, we started. Okay, cool. Hi. Hi, YouTube. So cool, guys. If you guys know me, you don't know me, it's okay. My name is Alejandro. What's your name? Born and raised in Puerto Rico. If you guys know Puerto Rico, it's pretty cool. Not the safest place, but it's pretty cool. I would say so. Probably the best times I've ever had it there in my life is definitely in Puerto Rico. Made a lot of good friends there. Still to this day, we're still very good friends. They're like my best friends, like sisters, like a sister to me, brothers to me. It's super crazy. But as I was growing up, my parents are still together. I had a brother and a sister. We used to do track. Track was my favorite sport. Loved running. My dad was a big sports guy. He ran track when he was in Puerto Rico. As he was growing up, he was gonna run nationals in Puerto Rico, but yeah, of course the ACL, man. Not the ACL, the hamstring. He pulled a hammy. Yeah, they were a loser. I'm just kidding. It's not funny. If he sees this, he's gonna be mad because he hates when people call people losers. So I'm gonna be so mad. But anyways, my dad, yes, he very big sports guy. Does cycling, track, triathlons, duathlons, whatever it is. So I grew up in a very competitive household, and I just acquired those traits of just being very competitive, and I feel like that also helped me throughout the training, absolutely. Just because it's like a lot of it, what we do in here is a lot of competition, a lot of just work ethic, and a lot of just grit and grind. And as I was growing up, going through middle school, high school, I remember Trey definitely remembers, like I think 7th, 8th grade. Trey used to go to high school with me, if you guys didn't know.
What?
In middle school. Yeah, we went to high school together in middle school, and I think it was like 7th, 8th grade. We had a class together here and there. You could definitely tell. Trey, was I chubby? Was I fat? Hella. I used to be really fat, and I was very insecure about that. So now these days, I'm just very. I like my appearance, and like I like how it looks. So I like to work out, keep up. Like sometimes I used to run when I used to run like 2 miles when I would take a snap selfie. I'd be like, if my face looked a little chubby, I would run 2 miles and come back, and then take the selfie. I was like, dude, I gotta look good. But I used to just want more, and as I grew up through high school, I was playing basketball, a bunch of different sports, and I got into boxing. So boxing was definitely my true joy. I love boxing. Absolutely, Tommy that boxing. Me and Tommy got to spar someday. It's so funny. Absolutely. As I was boxing, boxing taught me a lot. It taught me a lot of patience, a lot of you're gonna get down, you're gonna get knocked down, it's gonna hurt. You're just gonna have to keep going strong, keep getting back up. So that really helped me a lot, and I was pretty good. I was pretty decent at boxing. I would say I was pretty good. The one thing that I was lacking was really mentality. I really did not like hurting people. It's kind of funny. In a sport where you hurt people, I just didn't like hurting people. I was just kind of scared if I would punch somebody in the wrong way and then just knock them out, and then what if they died? That was my scare. I was like, oh, what if I hurt somebody? So I was always really nervous to fight, but I liked it. It's super weird. It makes no sense, but I liked it. And I at this point in my life where it was really a game changer, where my mom, she got in a car accident. She was in a motorcycle accident, and she was in the hospital. She was in a coma for about a week, and she almost died. Like in the how they determine the kidneys and stuff like that. Like a 5 is the worst, and 0 is pretty good. She was at a 4. Like her kidneys were very bad because she was in a motorcycle. She flew 20 feet and just slacked the ground. So it was pretty bad, and her lungs had fluid in it. Her brain had fluid in it as well. So it was pretty bad. But I stayed calm. I was just my sister was just absolutely bawling and crying. And I'm just like, well, what can I do? I don't deal very good with death. So if somebody tells me death or accidents, I'm like, well, what can you do? I don't know what to do. I mean, the only thing you can do about it is just be positive about it. That's pretty much all you can do. So I just hope for the best. So I kept boxing. And my mom got better. She was in the hospital for about a month and a half. It was super scary though, because you just see your mom on a hospital bed with a bunch of holes in her, because they have a bunch of tubes trying to get the fluid out. It was pretty bad. It was a pretty scary time. But I had this 5K that was coming up, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to dedicate this 5K for her. But throughout high school, I was never really a winner. I would always be in the team that loses. Our middle school team sucked at sports, so we always lost. And our high school team also sucked, so we always lost. So I was always in a losing mentality, in a losing atmosphere. So that's why I always blamed it on the team. It was always the team. So I was like, no, I'm gonna go into solo sports where I am the only one who can determine it. So I did the 5K, and I was I was like, cool. I've trained for this. Let me see what I can do. And I was running, and I was actually winning. I was like third or fourth the whole race. And then it was just like, we were in the second mile. We had like a mile left to go, and I was like, dude, I'm doing this for my mom. I gotta turn it up to like third gear right now. So I decided to kick it. I won the race. As I'm in second place, I'm like, am I actually gonna win this? Am I gonna win this race? Like, I was just thinking that, because like my whole life I was been like, I always lost everything. I've never been the person that wins. I was like, fuck, am I actually gonna win this? And then I go out there, bro. I threw everything I had in there, and I won. And I was so disappointed because it was Labor Day, so they gave me a hammer for winning. I was like, it said winner. It said a hammer. It says winner of the 5K men's division. I was like, well, this is stupid. What am I gonna do with this hammer? So I go to the hospital. I'm like, hey mom, I got you a hammer. It was the funniest thing, and my mom was like super happy. But I really just decided from there. My mom was in the hospital for a month and a half, so she couldn't work. So I decided to, you know what? Let me hop into the work industry. So I decided to get my first job. It was Chick-fil-A. I had my friend Carter, he worked there, and I was like, dude, Carter, bro, I need a job. Please, anything you can do, bro, tell your managers, I will do anything. Please, I just need a job so I can help my mom pay for the bills. So I decided to quit boxing. I left boxing behind because I was like, dude, there's more important things than, boxing. So I decided to quit, get a job, start helping my mom pay for bills, and Chick-fil-A really taught me a lot. It's constantly, you have to work. Chick-fil-A is you have to work. You're not on your phone. It's like you're either stocking the sauce, you're either stocking the straws, talking to customers. There's no free time. You're always working. And I feel like that really built the foundation of me and having a good attitude. And Chick-fil-A, bro, you have to have a good attitude. It's like, my pleasure. Hey, you have a wonderful day. My pleasure, my pleasure. And it's just having a good attitude. And my attitude got challenged all the time. My customers would be like, you forgot my sauce. And I'm like, it's not in the order. Like, sorry, bro. Do you want sauce? How many you want? It's okay. It's okay. You're okay. You're gonna live. So as I was going, I got a job there, and then I decided I didn't do track the rest of my life. I did track in Puerto Rico, and I was like 5, 6, 7. Didn't do track until I was 17 or 15, 16, 17 in high school as a senior. And I was asking my boxing coach. I was like, not my boxing coach, my track coach. I was like, I'm a senior, and I'm like, hey, can I join the track team? He's like, bro, you're a senior. Why do you want to join track like this late? I'm like, it was you guys know that you got to start like the preseason, right? You guys start at the beginning of the year. I started like, it was late to say, like mid-January. I was like, hey, can I join the track team? The only reason why is because me and my friend David wanted less hours in Chick-fil-A. So we were like, what can we do so that we can use an excuse so we can have less time to work? Such an employee mindset. And I decided to join track, and I was doing very well because I also built a foundation from boxing. I was running 8 miles every single day. So you think you can learn a little discipline from running 8 miles every single day? Yeah. Dude, it sucked. I would run the same route over and over again. I was like, I don't know how I didn't drive myself insane. It was so bad. But I would run the same route every single day, 8 miles every day, at least an hour every day. It honestly sucked, but I was like, hey, I gotta get it done. And then from there, I did very well in track. Got an opportunity to run track in college. Decided not to, just because I didn't want to take the risk to go to a different state, and I didn't get a full scholarship because I joined track very late senior year. So who's gonna take a shot on some random senior? But I was able to get a track scholarship. So I was like, okay, cool. I at least got a track scholarship. Okay. At least got something. Decided not to go to Iowa. Like it's so cold, so cold. Don't want to go up there. It's a completely different state. I don't want to go into debt when I barely know about debt. I don't know how to get a credit card. I don't know how to do anything. And I don't want to go into a different state, have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, and then go to college for something that I don't even know what I'm going to do. Like, I just felt college was so stupid because I'm going to go for a business. I was going to go for business. It was my degree, business. I was asking my dad, hey, what do I do? What job would I get after this business degree? My dad was like, I don't know. My dad was IT. So I'm like, what would I get? He's like, business. My dad does IT. He does very well for himself. I think he definitely makes 6 figures. He does very well for himself. He lives in Florida now, super chill. If you look at him, he's like totally gangsta. He has this giant like Cuban gold with this diamond pendant. It's like super cool. And I'm like, dude, you make money. But he's super cool. I love my dad, and I was just like, what am I gonna do with this random degree? And I'm paid to go to college, and still have no idea what I'm gonna do after. I was like, oh, you know what? Let me at least go to community college before I just hopped into a different state. So I decided to stay here in Texas, went to TCC. Anybody go to TCC? Woo, there we go. Yeah, I went to the Northeast campus and the Northwest campus. I went to both. And college was super easy. I can't lie. Like the only difference between you passing college and you not passing college is actually just doing the work. The work isn't really that hard. You just have to apply it. You have to do it. That's the hard part. I didn't want to do it, so I decided to just not go to college. I went there first semester, did pretty good. Had like a 3.6 average, like a GPA. I was like, yeah, cool, whatever. And then second semester goes, and I'm like, dude, what am I doing with my life? I'm here working at Chipotle, working pest control, working 2 jobs, and going to college. And I'm like, this looks so lame. Like, what am I gonna do with my life? You know? And so I had this turning point in my life. I had a girlfriend, whatever. Then anybody ever got cheated on? I think that's when the villain comes out. You know, I got cheated on, and I was like, you know what, dude, I'm gonna figure out my life out. I just stopped taking bullshit. I was like, you know what, dude, I'm done taking. Most of my life, I was just taking things like, oh, dude, no worries, I'll handle it, whatever. I was just taking things. So I decided to, you know what, I'm actually gonna, fuck it. I'm not gonna take any BS. So I'm gonna start actually doing things. So I decided to step out, and I was like, you know what, why not take an opportunity at some random job that I have no idea what to do. So I decided to try to finagle my way into some random job and pretend that I know what I'm doing. And then when I get to the job, I'm like, hey, can you train me? Because I don't know what I'm doing. So, you know, like try to like forge your like resume, like, hey, I have this experience, you know. I have pest control for 2 years when I was there for like 2 months, you know. So I decided to start looking at Indeed. I applied to like 100 different jobs, and I think like everybody else in here, you got a call from some random admin that was like, hey, I want you to come interview here. I was like, cool, awesome. As my first interview, I had 8 interviews that day, and my first one is at 8 a.m. It was a Zoom meeting, and I was like, cool. So I'm just gonna have no pants and then just like a button up and a blazer. And the person who did my Zoom was Tracy. Anybody remember Tracy? Yes, dude, Tracy. He was like sports guy, dude. NFL. I was like, if somebody in the NFL can, I just was very skeptical. I was very skeptical of this because I was like, I don't know, for some reason I was very skeptical. And I was like, hey, if somebody that was going to go to the NFL is here, maybe it's not that skeptical, you know? There's an office, you know, there's an actual office. They have like a sign, they have like mirrors. I was like, it looks nice from what I see. So I was like, okay, there's an office and there's people in it. Not everybody can be this dumb that they're just working at this, right? So then I go in for the first interview. My boy John, my upline, running Riverside right now, he did my interview. Super cool. I thought he was the guy from Karate Kid for like the longest time. And so I was like, cool, you know, let me give this job a shot. Actually Yvonne did my 3rd interview. And at the time we used to hire people on the spot. I was kind of nervous. I was like, man, I don't even know what I'm doing. Everybody here has a suit. I just bought a suit for $200. I just spent my whole life savings for this, which is the stupidest thing. I had like $5 in my bank account, and I come in and I'm like with the suit, trying to look all nice, and I'm like, what if I don't get this job? What would happen? I just bought a suit for no reason. So I was like, okay, cool, let me go. So then I got the job, and I started here, entry level, 12 months ago, on the spot tomorrow, and I was super appreciative of the opportunity. I was like, hey, somebody give me a shot into having this opportunity. And at the time, I really had, like, my only thought, it was just selling jugs. That was my only thought. My only thought, I was like, cool, we're just selling. My mom was like, hey, what do you do? I'm like, I sell for Nestle. That's what I do. I'm like, okay, cool. My mom was like, oh, that's awesome. My mom was super supportive of everything I do. She was like, oh, okay, you're making money? I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm selling stuff. You know, I was like, okay, cool. I was pretty good in the field when I first started. I think my first week I did 20 sales. I had the 20 bonus. So my first paycheck, like typically the first paycheck is pretty low. I had the $300 bonus in my first paycheck, so it was like $700. And I was like, huh, I made that bi-weekly, so might as well let me stick. You know, if I can make this weekly, 700 weekly. I don't think that's that bad. I thought it was pretty good. At the time, I remember when I first started, I asked Richard, I was like, hey, so I got this vacation here tomorrow, because we used to do orientation on Wednesday. They're like, hey, I gotta go on this vacation on Friday. I'm not gonna be here Friday or Saturday, and then I'll be here next week fully, and then after that, I gotta go on this vacation again. And then Richard was like, okay, do you want to work here, bro? Like, and I was like, yeah. I just have to, my dad's wedding, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Cool, no worries. Just, hey, let us know, keep in contact. Just come back after, whatever. So I go to my dad's wedding, I come back, and then I just felt bad. So I was like, you know what? Let me actually just start working here. Let me actually apply myself. So I decided to start reaching out to people, and I realized that the difference between the people who were there was a clear difference between who was really good in this and who wasn't. And the clear difference was the level twos. Like the people who were level twos were people who you can point out in a room. Like those are the people that stood out. And I was like, okay, so there's a clear difference between who knows what they're doing and who doesn't. So I decided to as soon as I started this, I was like, I'm only hanging out with level twos. And the people who were there is, let me know if you guys know these people. It was Yvonne, John, Sarah, Wade, Key, Tracy, Alante. These were the level twos at the what's his name? Jared and Dwight and Magali. All of these people are owners, which is crazy. And every single one of these level twos are all owners. And I was like, I'm gonna stick with these people and I'm gonna see what I can do. And that was really my biggest thing that I did. I was like, I'm gonna associate with the people who are better than me because they're in the position that I want, right? I was so fascinated. I'm very materialistic. If you guys don't know, I'm a very materialistic person. I saw a pin and I was like, dude, this is gonna make me look so cool. Like if I ever go out in public with a pin, people are gonna think I'm actually like a cool person, you know? So I was like, I need this pin. So I was like, hey, how do I get this pin? How do I get this pin? How do I get this level 2? What do I gotta do to get the level 2? I was just so obsessed with like, I need this pin. I want this pin. I need it. This is my only craving in life right now. And I was just obsessed with getting to level 2. So I only associated with the level 2s. I was very appreciative that it was really Yvonne and Sarah that really took me under the wing. That we were just hanging out all the time. I would like sometimes sit by myself, and then they would just come and sit with me. And I was like, cool. And then when they would go get food, they would always invite me, and I was like, cool. So they really helped me being part of the team. And if you guys are level 2s right now, I always recommend like always have people with you. Like always include everybody in the team. That's really what kept me. I was like, man, this is a really, really big team atmosphere. And I remember my first week, I almost quit. I was gonna go work at Spectrum because I said that I was like, my first week, I was like, hey, I got this dentist appointment that came up on this Wednesday. I'll be there like around 10:30, you know, I might be a little late, but I have this dentist appointment. It was really, I just had the Zoom interview with Spectrum. And they were like, hey, you get a base salary of $26,000 a year plus commissions. And I was like, dude, that sucks. I was like, hey, what does the growth look like? He was like, you know, it's gonna take you like a couple months to move up into like a leadership role, and then a couple more years to move up into more of the position that I am in. And I was like, huh. Is there anything like a little bit faster? Like, cause in the back of my mind, I'm like, these people are promising me 6 months and I'll be in management. I'm like, okay. And these people are telling me a couple years and I'll be in whatever position hiring manager this dude is. I'm like, this looks stupid. And I was like, you know what? I don't feel like stepping into a new environment where I have to meet a bunch of new people. They're also probably gonna be super lame. And I was like, you know what? Let me just stick here. I know some of the people, they're kind of cool. I like the environment. Decided to stick. And the biggest thing that I remember this exactly. Tracy was running his story, and the one thing that he told me was, the one thing that he said was, make Richard your best friend. Like that was the number one thing that he told me. He was like, make Richard your best friend. Like call him as many times as you need to. Make him your best friend because he's the person who has the blueprint, he's the person who has the map, and he's here to help you. Like Richard is here to help me, and he's helped me the entire way, and I definitely could not have gotten to the position that I am if it wasn't for him. So I was like, okay, so step number one, make Richard your best friend. And he was like, and if you don't have iPhone, you have to get an iPhone. It was like, if you don't have an iPhone, you're gonna have to get an iPhone. He was like, dude, make sure that Richard, you're pinned on his messages. If you're not pinned on Richard's messages, you're not that important. You're gonna have to get pinned on his messages. You're gonna have to. And I was like, okay, how do I get pinned? He was like, make him your best friend. I was like, okay. So ever since then, you can ask Richard. I would belt loop Richard until he left. Every team night, I would be next to Richard at all times. And I think we were having dinner in Grapevine at like this pizza after conference. And it was like super late, like everybody had left already. There was still a couple more people. And then as we were leaving, you know, I'm bell looping Richard, and then he's walking to his car, and I'm like walking to his car with him, and he's like, what was this weird kid? Like, why is he still with me? And then he gets in his car, he's like, he opens his door, and I'm still with him, and he gets it down, and then I'm like, hey. And he's closing his door, and I'm like, ah. And then I would bell loop Richard until he leaves every single time. And then anytime that I could have time with Richard, I would take it without a doubt, or any owner. I remember I did this with Danny as well. When he came here for the national conference, he came here and he would Uber everywhere. And I decided to take that as the opportunity. You need a ride, bro? It would be out of my way to go home. It would completely be like 30 minutes away from my home. It'd be completely out of the way. But I was like, hey, do you need a ride home to the hotel? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool, no worries. I'll take it. So I just spent as much time as I could with Danny. I would ride him home to the hotel. And then I was so nervous. I was like, because I was so hungry. It was like 12 o'clock that I dropped them off. And then I was like, man, there was like a Whataburger across the street. And I was like, man, I want to ask him if he wants to have like Whataburger real quick. And then I didn't. I was so nervous. So I was like, man, I didn't want to ask him. So then, as I'm driving away, I'm like, fuck, I should ask him. I should ask him. Why didn't I shoot my shot? I should ask him. And then I get this call from Danny. He was like, hey, bro, do you want to go eat that Whataburger? I was like, yes, I want to eat that Whataburger. I was like, yes. I thought you'd never ask. And he was like, okay, cool, just pull up and then we'll go to Whataburger. Me and Madison will probably just walk across the street, just meet us there. I was like, okay, cool, no worries. I said, bye, I'll see you there. I was like, God, thank you. So I always took it as the opportunity, hey, make the owner the best friend. Make them your best friend. Because they're the people with the guidance. They're the people that are going to help you get there. And do you guys think having an association with people who own companies, that's a pretty good association? Dude, I understood that from the get-go, and I was like, dude, I need to associate with these people. So that was my number one thing. I was like, I'm always going to serve them. Whatever they need, I'm going to help them as much as I can. Because in return, the law of the universe, whatever you put in, you're going to get out. So if I just help them as much as possible as I can help them, at some point in life, it's going to help me back. So I was like, okay, cool. I understand that. It's going to happen. Let me just help them as much as I can. And so that really helped me as far as getting to leadership and getting to level 2 and getting to mastermind and getting to these positions, is being able to be with these people. And as I'm building leaders, my first leader was like my third interview. It was my first leader. So I got to level 2 in about a month. And everybody was like, dude, you're the fastest person who's ever gotten to level 2. Blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, suck it. I'm like, it's like, I've seen these guys that have been here for like 2-3 months, and I'm like, suck it, dude. I got to level 2. I got this. I was just super just prideful, you know, some 18-year-old, you know what I mean? What other things do 18-year-olds think about? It's like, I want to be the center of attention, I want to be the president, right? And girls, that's pretty much it. And as I go through the training, as I'm needing help, I'm hiring a lot of people, and I'm struggling with retention. I'm struggling with keeping them in the team, and I'm like, dang, dude, what's happening? So I go to Richard. I'm like, Richard, what's happening, bro? So he's like, dude, you just need to build a connection. Like, everybody goes through this, you know? You hire people, and then, they don't stay. And then you hire people, and they stay for a day or two, and then leave. And then you hire a couple more people, and they stay, but they're a potato. And then you hire more people, and then they stay a little bit longer, but they don't get to leadership. And then it's just a process. You just have to get better and better and better and better. And then you just have to network about these things. So I was always just reaching out to people. And then the number 2 thing that really helped me during the training was not really questioning my upline. So don't question upline. Now, it doesn't mean like, hey, why do you think I should do this? I mean like, hey, if they tell you like why you should do something, it's for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, I understood, like, it's not gonna help John in any way, shape, or form if I suck. Like, the only way that John's gonna get promoted is if I do good. So there's no shot that he's gonna give me some advice that's gonna hurt me. You know what I mean? And I'm a very simple person. If you tell me to do something, I'll do it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna apply that to this business. And anything that they told me, done. Whatever you tell me to do, done. Whatever it is, because I guess it worked out. I got promoted, but it was just like there's no shot that what they're trying to tell me is to give me bad advice. You know what I mean? And if they tell me to do something, I should not have to get them to tell me multiple times. And I should already have to they told me one time, and I should already be able to do it multiple times from that. That makes sense. So when Richard was always telling me, hey, dude, look, like what's happening over there? I'm like, oh shit, it's cross line. And then from there, I was like, okay, cool. Be on the lookout for people that are cross-line. From that moment, I was like, okay, cool. Be on the lookout for that. And then he was like, hey, dude, the energy's kind of low. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's my responsibility now. My responsibility is to like get the energy up and make sure people aren't cross-line. So every time that they would tell me something, I would add it to the tool belt. Not like I'll get something and then I'll forget about everything else and I'll just only focus on this. It's every time they tell you to do something, you add it to your toolkit. And then the owner is supposed to be able to do everything. Right? The owner should be able to do the conversations. They should be able to do the person who's doing all the energizing, the person who's having the conversation, the person who's driving the sales, the person who's doing the systems, the person who's on the lookout for everything, like doing the interviews, everything. And I was like, okay, cool. I just have to get better at doing everything. And not really questioning my upline. Whatever John told me to do, I was like, cool, John, whatever you need, what do you need me to do? He was like, I need you to hire people. I was like, done. How many people do you need me to hire? I need you to just build a team. I was like, cool, don't worry about me. I'll get there. And then I just decided to, from that point forward, is the last thing is serve your upline. It's always just serving your upline. Because the more that you serve, the more you're gonna receive. And so I was like, if he tells me to do something, I will not question it, and I will help him as much as I can. I took this opportunity. I was like, hey, John gave me a shot, because he could have just had a really bad day and not hired me, you know? Like, what if he was like, this kid is kind of stupid, he's 18, you know what I mean? Like, he could have just not hired me. But I'm very appreciative that he did, and I built a really good relationship, and he took me in, and he helped me a lot, and I was very appreciative of him, and so I'm gonna appreciate him back by making sure that he gets promoted. I always wanted to give back. Like John told me that his goal was he wanted to give back to his parents. Not his parents that they struggle, but he just wants to give back to them. So I was like, okay, cool, I will help you do that. And so I decided from that point forward that I am going to help my upline in everything I need, because if my why isn't strong enough, I'm gonna make sure that I get his why done. Because if somebody's growing, if I attach myself to them, they're gonna pull me. Does that make sense? I will get pulled by me being with them into higher positions. So that's what I did. I decided to serve my upline as much as I can, and that's why people speak of Richard so highly, like speak of Tommy so highly, speak of this organization as a whole so highly, because Richard has built a foundation of just servant leadership. Servant leadership, like your people do not work for you, you work for your people. What do your people need? How much can you serve your people? How much can you help your people? And so basing that organization off of this, that's why Richard has been so successful. And I was like, okay, I understand what I have to do. I need to serve my upline as much as I can, because does it hurt you in any way, shape, or form if you help people? I think it makes you just a better person, you know? I think it makes you happier a lot in general. And I would hear Richard talking about like, hey, I'm always giving. Like he would give tithe, and then he would also give to the homeless. He would give whatever. And so I remember I was at this McDonald's one time, and I bought these 2 McChickens, and I was like, oh, I'm about to smack these, dude. I'm gonna munch on these. And then there was this homeless person there, and I was like, you got to be kidding me, bro. I just bought this. And then I just felt really bad. I was like, this is the right thing to do. So I gave one of my McChickens away. I was like, oh, I'm so sad. But hey, I don't really need it. I think that person needs it more than I do, right? I could just go home and just eat a sandwich from home, you know? Somebody else needs something more than you do. And last thing I'm gonna leave you guys with is like, my entire life I've always understood like, hey, I would rather struggle than seeing somebody else struggle. I think that's what helped me so much. I would rather struggle than having somebody else struggle. Because if there's somebody that I care about and they really want to do something, I'm gonna let them do it. I'd rather them enjoy than then seeing them struggle. I would rather struggle myself, because I know I'll get it done. Does that make sense? Yeah. I know I'll get it done, and so I want to make sure that I can help somebody else get whatever they need to, and I can be a part of that. And at some point, hey, it'll pay back at some point. But I just want to leave you guys with these 3 things. Like, hey, if you want to grow in this business, you have to make the owner your best friend. You have to make your upline your best friend. Don't really question what they're teaching you. Whatever they're teaching you, if they're trying to teach you Fuji and how to implement it, see how they're teaching it. Like, try to help them understand. If you don't understand, hey, tell them, hey, bro, the way that you're coaching me right now, I don't really understand that. And then problem solve on how to communicate that. It happens in relationships all the time. Like, people get in arguments and they don't try to figure it out, and that's why there's like the high amount of like separations and marriages are happening these days, right? It's just not enough communication. The more that you communicate, the better the outcome is going to be. So understand, like, hey, whatever your upline says, just, hey, don't question it. Just do it. There's a reason. There's always a reason. Just understand that there's always a reason, and just do it. And the last thing is, hey, serve your upline, serve the team, and what does the office need? Okay? That's pretty much my story. You know, I'm 19.
Definitely the last time some of you ever see him in your life. So does anyone have any questions?
Yeah.
When's your birthday?
October 1st.
Oh, okay.
October 1st, a little Libra boy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, I mean,
What would be one piece of advice that you would give to entry level?
tell her.
The one piece of advice?
Don't go to the dentist.
Dude, I don't know how Richard didn't lose his attitude with me, bro. I would take so many vacations. Oh, yeah. Dude, they told me that you guys had a secret meeting. You were like, dude, does Alejandro even want to work here, bro?
I know you're that important.
No, sorry. I just felt really prideful. It's okay. I was like, you know what?
You started working and you took the first 2 weeks off. I'm like, I've never seen you.
But I would say the best piece of advice for an entry level is learn the systems and follow the level 2s. Whatever the level 2s do, follow that. Or follow whatever the level 1s are doing. Try to come in early and do your teach backs. Try to understand what the systems are. Because I remember me in the beginning, my biggest struggle was like, I taught back the systems, but I really didn't know how to apply them. I was just like, oh, I taught them back. And then 2 weeks later, I forgot about them. And then somebody comes to me and is like, hey, can you help them do a teach back? I'm like, yeah, teach back. What is a teach back? I was like, I completely forgot. I would say the best thing you could do is learn your systems and just be positive. Like whatever you can do, just be positive and work really hard and have fun. Those are the 3 things that I could give the best piece of advice. It's very simple. Don't try to overcomplicate things. If people are telling you no, it's not because it's not because anything that you're insecure about. It's just because your pitch probably sucked at the time. Okay. If you're entry level, it's most likely your pitch sucks. So you just gotta get better at your pitch. And once you're good at your pitch, then it's really just your pace or your attitude. Outside of that.
Advice for people in Leaderland.
In Leaderland, get out. Ask yourself why you're stuck in Leaderland. Also, I can't really give you too much piece of advice on there because I've never been stuck in Leaderland. I mean, I have, but it's not like you just have to be intentional about getting out. Like I've been through a slump, but as soon as I get into a slump, it's not like, oh my god, I'm in a slump, and I just get depressed and just think about my entire life. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not really good at this right now. Who do I need to reach out to get better? So go to the best person at whatever you're not good at, and go to them and see how you need to get better. That's what I'm saying. You just have to be intentional about getting out of the situation that you're in. Does that help you?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Anybody else? No?
Yeah, when you get in the Bentley.
Yeah. It's a Ferrari, bro. I want a Ferrari. I want a Ferrari. I looked at the steering wheel of the Ferrari and I was like, dude, I want one of those. So I have a picture of the steering wheel on my iPad. Every time I open up my iPad, it's a steering wheel of a Ferrari, and I'm like, I want that every single day. I'm like, I push for that every single day. Again, I'm materialistic.
How much does it cost for a Ferrari?
Bro, it's like 200 grand. Afraid of first?
You can have a moment if you just wanted to quit.
Absolutely. You can ask.
Which one?
My biggest. I've never really thought. I never thought about quitting until this moment in my life, bro. It was my, oh my god, bro, it was the worst moment of my life. Hey, we went to go help Chang's office. I love Chang. We went to go help our office, and I took DT, Kim, and Genesis, and his leader Noel, and Richard sent me out there for a week. And let me tell you, when the owner's not there, and you're the person running a regional consultant's office, it's very stressful. There's so many things to do, and you just feel so overwhelmed by everything. And I'm like, bro, I am not ready to be in ownership yet. I was a level 2 pushing mastermind a little bit. I was like almost I had 3 leaders, so I was like, I'm close to mastermind, and I was like, dude, I could run an office. And then I got put to run an office, and I was like, I am not ready. It's like, I came back and I was like, Richard, I want to quit, bro. I want to quit so bad. I'm not, but I want to so bad. Because I was like, during that time there, the whole time I was thinking, 50,000 a year doesn't really sound that bad. You know, for 40 years, you know, $50,000 a year, you know, pretty average. You know, I can get maybe like a go-kart to drive. You know, I was like, I think I could do that. You know, 50 years of my life for $50,000 a year, I think I can do that. And then I was like, dude, that sounds so stupid. That sounds so miserable. I don't want to do that. So then I was like, okay, cool, I can do it. Okay, let me figure this out. I came back and I was like, you know what, Richard, I'm not gonna quit, but I want to. And all he did was laugh. He was like, I'm so happy you reached this point, bro. I think everybody does. And I was like, what do I do, bro? My leaders suck, I suck, everything sucks. He was like, because he texted me, bro, your team's at 30 sales for the week. I'm like, we have like 5 people. We had 30 sales. I had like 5 sales that whole week. I was like, oh my god, I'm so stressed. This sales suck. But you can't quit on a bad week or a bad day. It's just because of emotion. So I was like, you know what? Let me think about this logically, and let me go back the next week when I'm back in New Bern. I'm like, I'm back in my comfort zone. What do I need to do to get better? So then from there, I was like, okay, I need to grind more. I need to get better at everything that I'm doing wrong. I'm just not organized. I'm not an organized person. I need to be more organized. So what melancholy do I need to work out with? So if that helps you, it's like that was the biggest. I was like, I want to quit so bad. But I understand, dude, if there's people like, there's 20-year-olds running a business, like, I just want to, if they can do it, I can do it. You know? Like, if they can do it, I can do it. There's no shot that I can't do it. You know? Okay? And Al?
Question was answered.
What was it?
Question was answered.
That was the question?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Similar, yeah.
Yeah, dude. I think, dude, you're gonna have a point in your time here that you're gonna want to quit. You just don't. You know? What's like?
And then is there a job where you don't have that? Is there some occupation out there that you look at and you're like, I want to do this for 50 years?
Dude, I remember.
There is not. If you find it, please tell me. I want to apply.
Dude, I remember it was my first week working at Walmart, and I had nightmares about working there. Like, you guys ever have a dream of like working?
Yeah.
And you're like, and you wake up paranoid. You're like, I forgot I gotta stock the noodles. I was like, wait, I'm in bed. And then I was like, dude, I need to quit this job. If I'm already having nightmares in my first week, I'm like, dude, I need to quit. I was like, I want to quit this so bad. I was so bad. It
How
was
much money did you make? How much per hour? At Walmart?
14, 15?
Wow.
Yeah, that was my thing.
14, 15 dollars an hour. I was like, dude, I'm making money, and I was still making like 600 bi-weekly. I was like, dude, I'm sucking. And I would be excited. I was like, hey, 600. And then I would just blow it on like shoes, clothes, Supreme, Gucci, whatever it was. Because I was definitely very insecure with myself. I want to be the flashiest person. I want people to like me. Gucci. I would buy some like some fake Gucci, you know, some fake Gucci's from the Chinatown. Yeah. Dude.
Like you wash it and it changes colors.
Hey, you wash it and the G falls off and now it says Gucci. Yeah.
Or Gucci.
Gucci. hey, you rocking with the Gooch? Yeah, it's so funny. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much my story. I'm only 18. I was 18 when I first started. Now I'm 19. I promise you guys, if I can do this, I promise you guys can do this. The only thing you have to do is just work really hard. It's really just the meaning that Richard ran is work ethic, your attitude, and pitch, your mouthpiece.
Are you taking your FRS?
Am I taking my FRS? Absolutely not. It is getting shipped.
Oh.
I bought a Spirit flight for $150. I fly tomorrow. My car's getting shipped.
You fly with the Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't even want American?
Huh?
You didn't want American?
That's too expensive. That would have been like $220.
Yeah. I wanted to spend $150. That's how much. You gotta save $60. But yeah. Thank you guys.